Poem 2 Wind by Subramanyam Bharati. About the poet. Chinnaswamy Subramanyam Bharati was an Indian writer, journalist, Indian independence activist, and social reformer from Tamil Nadu. He was popularly known as Mahakavi Bharati. He was a pioneer of modern Tamil poetry and is considered one of the greatest Tamil literary figures of all time. Subramanyam composed this poem, Wind, in Tamil, and it was later translated to English by A.K. Ramanujan. A.K. Ramanujan was an Indian poet and scholar of Indian literature who wrote both in English and Kannada. He was a poet, a scholar, professor, a translator, and a playwright. The English version of this poem was translated by him. Theme of the poem. In this, the poet tells us that there are many obstacles, problems, hardships that we may come across in our life. We should not run away from it. Instead, we should learn to face them with courage and determination. We should be mentally tough and physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. So, the wind is a symbol of problems and obstacles which are to be dealt with courage. If we are strong, then we can overcome our troubles and face the hardships of life. Dear students, let us understand the poem stanza wise. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. Now, in this stanza, the poet addresses the wind. And here, the poetic device used is personification. Now, what do you mean by personification? Personification means the inanimate or non human objects are portrayed as human beings. So, the poet here addresses the wind and he urges or requests the wind to slow down its speed and not to break the shutters of the windows, scatter the papers, or throw down the books lying on the shelf. But the wind does not listen to him and blows strongly and throws the books down, tears their pages, and brings the rain again. Stanza 2. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings, frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So, in the second stanza, the poet refers the wind as clever and says that it makes fun of the weak things by destroying them or overpowering them. In the next line, we have the word frail. Frail means weak and crumbling means breaking. So, the wind god shatters the weak houses, decaying doors, rafters, and physically and mentally weak persons. So here the poet compares the situation with winnowing process and indicates that the weak persons lose courage on facing the adversities or challenges. Moreover, when there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak fall and get crushed. So the poet describes the havoc created by the wind. And then further he says that the wind god is all powerful and is not influenced by any external factors. Neither request nor our commands will influence him. Stanza 3. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. Now in this stanza, the poet suggests a different approach. He says that we have to build our homes on strong foundation and ensure that the doors are not knocked down by the wind. We have to be strong enough to face the challenges of life. So the poet gives a message that the problems are beyond our control and we need to stay strong and prepare ourselves to accept it. We also have to become strong both physically and mentally. We must train our body and our hearts to fight against the destructive power of wind. Stanza 4. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Now, in this concluding stanza, the poet talks about both good and bad effects of the wind. It blows out the fire with weak force, but if the fire burns strongly, the wind makes it more fierce. Thus, the wind can nurture that which is already strong. So, in this stanza, the poet conveys the message that if we are able to face the hardships and challenges in our life, the wind becomes our friend. And so, he says that wind is a good friend and deserves our praise. But then we should be as strong as the wind.